Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. On this week's program, we talk with Nancy Zenger Beneda, who is the Executive Director of Kansas Foundation for Agriculture in the Classroom. We'll get an update on what's been going on this school year. Also, some ways you can participate and support teaching some of the ag literacy through our schools throughout Kansas. We'll also have features from the Kansas Soybean Commission, Kansas Department of Agriculture, and Kansas Grain Sorghum, plus the weekly feature from Kansas Livestock Association and market information from Pinion.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers. Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, kfb.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com.
In agricultural news, Senate Ag Committee Chair Debbie Stabenow says she expects to have about $4 billion to $5 billion in new funding available for the next farm bill, as she's been working with the Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer of New York to identify some funding sources outside of the bill. Now, she doesn't say where that money is coming from, but does say it will address issues and the commodity and crop insurance titles. Stabenow of Michigan also says Congress is going to need to pass a one-year extension of the current farm bill before the end of the year. Now, House Ag Chair Glenn Thompson of Pennsylvania doesn't think the extension needs to be that long. The USDA, though, told Stabenow a one-year extension is necessary to ensure that commodity programs can properly operate. And she also welcomes the plan by the new House Speaker, Mike Johnson of Louisiana, to move a farm bill in the House in December before they go on the holiday break. Now, there are still significant issues that haven't been resolved in either the House or Senate Ag committees. USDA providing $2.3 billion to help American producers maintain and develop markets for their commodities. Some of those funds will be used U.S. commodities to boost international food aid. A request for the funding initially came from the Senate Ag Committee's leadership, so USDA will be utilizing the funds from the Commodity Credit Corporation to address challenges related to trade and food insecurity impacting U.S. farmers and the international community. USDA will use $1.3 billion for the Regional Agricultural Promotion Program and support for specialty crop industries to diversify export markets. And $1 billion would go to help address global hunger. And new research out from USDA finds that in 2022, 12.8% of U.S. households were food insecure at some time during the year. Now, food insecure means they had difficulty providing enough food for all the members because of a lack of resources. The prevalence of food insecurity in 2022 is significantly higher than the 10.2% recorded in 21 and 10.5% in 2020. Very low food security is more severe a form of food insecurity, and the 2022 prevalence is very low. Food security was 5.1%, statistically significantly higher than the 3.8% seen in 2021. 3.9% was in 2020. Ag Secretary Vilsack said the 2022 Household Food Security in the U.S. report a sobering reminder that while the vast majority of Americans are able to affordably feed themselves and their families, too many of the neighbors struggle to put healthy food on the table. We'll talk ag in the classroom when we return on the Kansas Ag Report.
The Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Joining us now to talk about the Kansas Foundation for Ag in the Classroom is their Executive Director, Nancy Zenger Beneda. Hi, Nancy.
You got it. Hi, good morning.
Well, we wanted to get an update and let folks know of a couple things. We always enjoy talking with you and the good things that your board and you are doing to help promote agriculture. So here we are. We're just a few weeks away from kind of the first half of the school year. How have things been going?
Well, we have a lot going on. And as always, Ken, we appreciate the opportunity to talk with you and share with your listeners the great work that teachers are doing across the state and how we're trying to support them in incorporating agriculture into their classrooms. One of our big initiatives this year has been giving away free lesson planning kits. And we do have those kits for 4 grade bands. So we have a specific kit for K through 2, one for 3 through 5, and then a middle school 6 through 8, and a high school 9 through 12. And that's new for us. We've been primarily focused on some of those lower grades in elementary, and we're making a specific effort now to provide resources for all of the classrooms that are in our school districts. And so we're excited about that. And we found that to be a really successful initiative in engaging new teachers, because when there's an easy resource for them to use and incorporate in their classrooms that's already tied to Kansas academic standards, and then also tied to national ag literacy outcomes, so we know that we're teaching something important about agriculture, teachers find that really easy to work that into their classrooms. So we've been successful in engaging a lot of new teachers in this program. In fact, we've learned that 83% of our kits have gone to new teachers not already incorporating agriculture in their classrooms, or at least new to KFAC and the resources that we have available to them.
And we'll talk about how our viewers here and listeners can contribute to getting more of those kits out. Also, there's some things coming up in November, so we want to let folks know about that. But Nancy, it seems like this has been a process for quite a while, but to get to those other grades, because it's a little different level of teaching what goes on with agriculture rather than maybe some of those basics that while are necessary, today's student I think is still very hungry for knowledge.
That's so true. And we think that being introduced to agriculture at an early age is awesome and very essential, but it's probably not enough. We'd like to see those students have some exposure in those early grades, and then again, as they progress throughout their school schedule and time that they spend in school, because we think being exposed at several times throughout their school careers gives them an opportunity to develop a stronger understanding of agriculture and the connection to how agriculture resources really provide for everything that they need and use in their daily lives. And of course, that understanding then helps us strengthen the future of agriculture by potentially offering a workforce and leaders and policymakers that have a stronger understanding of agriculture. And then that in turn strengthens our communities. So there are so many ways that these lessons and this program really does support Kansas.
We're talking with Nancy Zenger Beneda, who is the Executive Director of the Kansas Foundation for Ag in the Classroom. We'll come back and have more of our discussion in just a moment. Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future at kansascorn.com. And joining us is Nancy Zenger Beneda, who is Executive Director of the Kansas Foundation for Ag in the Classroom. Nancy, you talked right at the beginning of these lesson plans that are going out to schools. not quite reached your goal. And so now this is what we want to kind of talk about, how this is that full participation that folks maybe can do that, because everybody talks about how important agriculture is to get that ag education, educating these young consumers. So one of the ways, of course, is just simply an outright gift. There's some other things coming up later in November, and that's kind of what get on now to kind of plant that seed. So talk about that goal to get those lesson plans out, and how close are you?
So we had set a goal as staff that we wanted to send 2,023 kits in the year of 2023. And so we've more than doubled the amount of kits that we've been giving. And that has really increased the teachers that are now in our database that are receiving our newsletter. And that's one of the ways that we've measured that this has been a successful initiative. And we've done that through 2 kit releases already. We did a great release Ag Month earlier in the year, and then we did a back to school kit release, but we're only at 93% of our goal. So we still need to send out a few more kits. And of course, any help that we can get coming up in these giving days will help us buy the supplies that we need to finish up those last few kits that we need to send out. And so we do have a couple of opportunities throughout the year that people can support us. And we just finished up a new fundraising initiative for us, which is the Wamego Match Day. We've been involved with the Greater Manhattan Community Foundation for a number of years and participate in their match day. And this last year we added Wamego, and we're so thankful for that community. We were able to raise over $4,500 in that specific event. But those match days help us with securing a future for the organization. We put a large portion of what we raise on those match days to an endowment that will continue to fund us in the future. But we have Giving Tuesday coming up, and that will be on November 28th. And all of the funds that we raise on November 28th will be focused on helping us reach this goal of 2,023 kits given out in the year of 2023. And I think a number that your audience would be specifically interested in is that after we are successful in doing that, we will have touched over 50,000 Kansas youth. And that's a pretty large undertaking for an organization with only 2 staff. But we feel like making an impact like that is so critical to the future of agriculture and the work that we're doing. So we really appreciate our donors, and we hope that some of your audience will be able to help us finish up our goal as we come to the end of the year.
Okay, Nancy. So let's folks know how they can get more information about KFAC, or how they can participate in the upcoming Giving Tuesday here after Thanksgiving. So how can they get more information?
Well, you'll hear about us on the radio. You'll find us on the website at ksagclassroom.org. And then if you follow any social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, you'll see lots of information coming through those social media networks. And of course, you can always reach me. I'd love to talk to anybody that's interested in supporting the work that we do. And you can reach me at the office then or through email. And that's just Nancy at ksagclassroom.org. And I'd love to hear from your listeners.
Well, Nancy, again, good luck with all this. And thanks for giving us an update of what's going on with the Kansas Foundation for Ag in the Classroom. So thanks a lot.
Thank you, Ken. Always glad to talk with you.
Nancy Zenger Beneda, who is Executive Director of Kansas Foundation for Ag in the Classroom, has joined us. We'll have more coming up in just a moment. Stay with us.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
Agriculture is the largest economic driver in Kansas and significantly impacts the national economy. Where do soybeans fit into this valuable sector? A study conducted by LMC International on behalf of the National Oilseed Processors Association and United Soybean Board answered just that. A look at the Kansas data indicates that soybeans generate $5.7 billion in revenue. The sector covers nearly 14,000 jobs and nearly $600 million in wages, according to the study. Among stages of the value chain, soybean production accounts for the largest overall impact. Selected food uses generate the second largest share of revenue, while feed milling employs the second largest number of individuals. Crushing also ranked high among the value chain categories. Looking at the big picture, the total soybean sector contribution to the U.S. economy averaged $124 billion from 2019 to 2022. The 2021-22 crop year reached $160 billion in economic impact. The study found that 504,000 individuals are involved in soybean farm decision-making and estimates that the U.S. soybean sector provides 223,000 paid full-time equivalent jobs. The wage impact, not including farm business profits or losses, averaged $10 billion annually over the years studied. An excerpt from the study results says, "The importance of the soybean sector to the U.S. economy remains substantial, citing it accounts for 0.6% of the U.S. GDP. The data has been boosted by higher commodity prices and greater domestic processing within recent years." This study updates data from the 2018-2019 report. Check out all the details on the National Oilseed Processors Association website at www.nopa.org under the New Economic Study button.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the soybean checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the soybean checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Fall means the holidays are just around the corner, and if you're making your list, you can celebrate the state we love by giving the gift of Kansas with great products made by From the Land of Kansas members. From the Land of Kansas is the state trademark program, promoting and celebrating agricultural experiences and products grown, raised, or produced in Kansas. Kansas-made food and other products not only make great gifts, but they also support Kansas farmers, ranchers, and agribusinesses. Look for the From the Land of Kansas logo when shopping at gift shops, boutiques, and grocery stores. When you shop Kansas, you support local Kansas companies. During the holiday season, giving the gift of Kansas is even easier. From the Land of Kansas offers gift boxes each holiday season filled with sweet and savory treats everyone will love. The boxes can be ordered online and can be shipped directly to your family and friends. This year we have 2 gift box options available, the Ad Astra box and the Kanza box, offering an assortment of products from across the state like chocolate sauce, salsa, dry rub, honey, beef jerky, mustard, lavender lip balm, and wheat snacks. All the products are Kansas-made, grown, and produced by members of the From the Land of Kansas program. Use the promo code GIFTBOX10 to save 10% off your gift box order if you place it in the first 2 weeks of November. For other gift ideas or to find retailers or Kansas businesses near you, visit FromTheLandOfKansas.com. If you don't live near the retailers, you can also shop online at the From the Land of Kansas marketplace at shop.FromTheLandOfKansas.com, where you'll find everything from salsas, relishes, and jams to crafts, lotions, and calendars. And, of course, those holiday gift boxes. Look for the From the Land of Kansas logo and make Kansas part of your holidays this year, from the gifts you give to the meals you prepare.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
Happy October from Kansas Grain Sorghum. Maddie Meyer, Director of Programs, here to bring you the latest Kansas Grain Sorghum update. It seems as though a few of our growers across the state have already begun harvest. As of October 2nd, the grain sorghum crop conditions are as follows: 11% very poor, 19% poor, 38% fair, 28% good, and 4% excellent. Sorghum coloring was 94%, near 91% last year, and 95% average. Mature was 60%, ahead of 50% last year, and 54% average. Harvested was 19%, ahead of 9% last year and 11% average, according to the USDA. By the way, there's still plenty of time to enter the National Sorghum Yield Contest. Entries are categorized into 4 divisions in the East and West regions, respectively: dryland tillage, dryland no-till, irrigated, and food grade. Be sure to enter by November 15th, 2023 to be up for contention as a sorghum yield champion. Winners will be recognized during the National Commodity Classic, which will be held February 28th through March 2nd, 2024 in Houston, Texas. Ready to harvest the win? Enter today at the link below. Here at Kansas Grain Sorghum, we understand that this time can be busy for all, which can bring on unwanted stress or anxiety. Mental health is always a difficult subject to talk about, but together we can end the stigma. After all, providing for our country day in and day out is no easy task. KansasAgStress.org has plenty of resources for those who are facing ag-related stress. After all, no one is alone. Thank you, and stay tuned for next time.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
The featured speaker for opening night of this year's KLA convention, November 29th through December 1st in Wichita, will discuss highlights from his 30-year career in agricultural policy and provide insight into the beef and dairy export markets. Kansas native Greg Dowd will take the stage Wednesday evening during the Cattlemen's Banquet, sponsored by Intrust Bank, Tyson Fresh Meats, and Allflex Livestock Intelligence. Dowd currently is the Chief Operating Officer for the National Milk Producers Federation, but will become President and Chief Executive Officer in January. He earned undergraduate and graduate degrees from Kansas State University before embarking on a career that has included serving as the Chief Economist for NCBA and a senior staff member for the U.S. Senate Agriculture Committee that wrote the 2012 Farm Bill. Dowd also was the Chief Agricultural Negotiator in the Office of the U.S. Trade Representative from 2018 until 2021. He will share his experiences from that time, including his trade discussions with China and work on the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. Dowd also will give his perspective on future trade opportunities for the beef and dairy sectors. His presentation is sponsored by Microtechnologies and Zoetis. To register or book hotel rooms for the KLA convention, go to kla.org and click on Events and Meetings.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Good day. Mitch Dewar here with Pinion Risk Management. Last week, December corn futures closed above $5 for the first time since August 2nd. The $5 handle was short-lived as the next day we closed back sub $5 and have continued to drift lower. The rally was met with some farmers selling. There were rumors floating of China stepping in to purchase U.S. corn, but there was no confirmation of that in the following daily flash sales or export sales this week. The corn market continues to be range-bound and hasn't found any news to push the market out of the last 3-month range. Soybean harvest was shown 76% complete as of Monday, October 23rd. The tail end of harvest could be dramatically slower as the weather has shifted to cold and wet. The trade will continue to keep a close eye on exports as that window continues to narrow. South American weather will also be a headline that will start to be talked about more as we move down the calendar. The big move over the past week has been the cattle market. We saw both live and feeder cattle futures sell off last week into the Cattle on Feed report on October 20th. The report was released after the markets closed at 2 p.m. The September placements came in at 106 versus the pre-report estimate of 100.8. That number caught everyone, and especially the market off guard. Monday morning, we saw a dramatic sell-off in the cattle complex. We saw the funds run for the door, and eventually February live cattle settled down the limit, 675 on the day, with all other contracts down near the limit as well. That was the first time we had traded the new limit since they have been expanded to those levels. Currently, feeder cattle daily limits are 825, and live cattle are 675. Seeing February cattle close the limit on Monday, Tuesday the limits for live cattle were expanded to $10 and feeders to $12.25. Cattle futures settled down the rest of the week and traded near Monday's lows. You can reach us at 888-452-8751. I'm Mitch Dewar with Pinion Risk Management.
You support your family, your church, and your community. And you do it because you love it. But don't forget, your mental health is just as important as your physical health.
It's just hard for, especially a male my age, to just admit I'm not feeling right, because that's not how we're brought up. There is no shame in asking for help.
There is help for anyone struggling with mental health. Text or call 988 to be connected to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Talk to someone. Above all, don't suffer in silence. For more resources, visit kfb.org/Rural Minds Matter.
That's our program. Be social with us online, KansasAgReport.net, or our social media channels. I'm Ken Rogers. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back with you next week on the next Kansas Ag Report.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
Sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.